Hey guys, it's Jam from SupJamChan. How's it going? Today, we're going to be talking about For Honor, how it's an incredible game, and how I think it's ultimately going to fail. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jam, that's a pretty sensationalized title you got there. And you got me. But hear me out. For those that don't know, For Honor is an online multiplayer action game by Ubisoft. You basically pick one of the many heroes and you duke it out on a battlefield against a variety of other opponents, sometimes with creeps and objectives, and sometimes in just brutal face-to-face encounters. What sets this game apart from all other games is its unique combat system. They call it the art of battle, and let me tell you what, it's actually really cool. The basic essence of the system is that you have this little triangle where you can weave your attacks and guards in any direction. But the combat system doesn't stop there. It pulls all these aspects that you traditionally see in fighting games and throws it into an action brawler type game. So every character's got movesets and special abilities. They've got parries, they've got dodges, they've got blocks, they've got guard breaks. All these elements that come together. I really like this game. There's nothing out there like it right now. And that's what makes me really worried, because I'm pretty sure Ubisoft is going to screw it up. So, in my opinion, For Honor has 3 things that makes it an incredible game. Absolutely amazing. You know, A+, SupJamChan score, 5 SupJamChan faces. I love it. But it also has one thing that completely destroys everything that makes it a great game. It's absolutely terrible. So we're going to talk about them. The first thing that For Honor does incredibly well is its combat system. They really nailed it. Ooh, it's so good. But I don't specifically mean all the little elements that come together to make the art of battle a really complete and cohesive experience. What I mean is that the game feels like it's really deep. There's a lot of strategy and depth to the game. But it's not very hard to actually learn this system. All the attacks and abilities are very intuitive. The movesets are simple and easy to utilize. It's not like a traditional fighting game in that you're gonna have to spend a lot of time in practice mode trying to figure out different combos, trying to master the inputs. The combat system is less about learning how to access these really complicated badass moves, and more about learning when to utilize them. You know, which attack, which defense is most efficient to taking out your opponent. It's a game of psychology, really. Basically, For Honor's combat system feels like it has a lot of depth. You can dive right in, but it's also not deep enough that you feel like you might drown. It's a nice middle ground for a guy like me who wants to play a competitive psychological game but doesn't really want to spend lots of time getting good. Following up with that, the second aspect that makes For Honor such an incredible game is how immersive it feels to play. The visuals, the music, the sound effects, everything is so engaging. You really feel the blows of all your text going through. Immersive gameplay is a concept that is thrown around a lot in new releases. People will say, oh, this game is so immersive. Oh, it feels so good. And then other people will be like, oh, this game is terrible. I just don't feel immersed. It can really make or break a game to some people. And there are a lot of little things that sort of come together to make an experience more or less immersive. And I think For Honor hits all these points really well. First of all is the animations. This game just moves so well. All the animations really sell that these characters are deadly warriors of legend. I can't even really express how awesome it feels to be playing in Dominion mode, running around and just cleaving through bad guys and just seeing your weapon break their shields. They're running backwards, they're cowering in fear. They feel real, you know, they have like a persistence to them. You're not phasing through them, they're not just miscellaneous enemies with a health pool that you're taking down. It feels like you're in the middle of a battle. The music adds so much. It's subtle enough that if you focus really hard, you won't even hear it as you're facing your opponents down. But when you're stepping back a bit, it really comes in. The drums come out when you hear the swords sing through the air as they cut down their opponents, or the sound of your mace cleave through things. It just sounds so good. All these things coming together just makes it a completely immersive experience, and I love it. Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good, guys. It's so good. I have nothing else to add. I know what you're saying. You can't just say it's so good all the time. That doesn't, you know, elaborate on your point. But I'm sorry. You know, you just have to see it. Ugh. And finally, the third thing that makes this game so cool, I'm hyping myself up, I know, I just like talking about this game. It's such a cool game, and I'm just, oh man, I'm just so desperate to play it again, but also I'm really worried that it's gonna be shit, you know what I mean? Anyways, the third point that makes this game so good is its sense of progression. Now, I mean this in 2 ways. The first way is with your character. In For Honor, you have a great variety of aspects to level up as you go. If you're the kind of gamer who can't play a game unless you have a carrot on a stick to chase, this game is designed for you. You unlock characters, you unlock new feats and abilities, different types of equipment. There are a variety of different currencies in the game that you can utilize. It checks all the boxes. You've got loot crates, you've got salvageable materials, you can create things. It's pretty comprehensive, actually, for a game that isn't really about loot. The second point of this third point, sorry, I'm terrible at formatting, my words and ideas. And the other way of progression in this game is becoming better as a player. Understanding your class better, having a better grasp of his abilities, when to use them, how to use them in a fight. That's all very compelling. A lot of games will have one of these two aspects. You've got some games that are just pure player skill, and then you have a lot of games that are all about the stats, your character becoming stronger. As you might imagine, it can be pretty hard to have both of these aspects in one game. For Honor does a surprisingly good job of balancing these 2 points. If you're only in it for the really badass fighting system, then the duel and brawl modes just do so much to really push that skill-based gameplay. And if you just want to feel like a god reaving through multiple opponents, then you have Dominion mode, where stats matter. Alright, so now that we've briefly talked about what makes For Honor such a great game, I want to talk about the really big problem this game has. It's been around since alpha, everyone knows about it, so it's no surprise. You know it, I know it. You know what I'm talking about? We're talking about the frickin' Peacekeeper. This guy frickin' sucks, I hate him. But seriously, it's about the lack of dedicated servers. That is dumb.
We don't know how to do anything about this. I feel like we're stuck. I'm pretty sure we're stuck.
Ubisoft decided that For Honor didn't need dedicated servers, and instead opted to choose peer-to-peer hosting to facilitate all modes of the game. If you're dueling, if you're brawling, if you're playing in Dominion mode with 8 players, there's one guy who's gonna be hosting it for everyone else. And that is just the worst thing ever. Like, it's 2017, and Ubisoft still wants to give us peer-to-peer gameplay. Trump is president of America. The Cubs won the World Series. Valve just officially announced Half-Life 3, and Ubisoft still thinks it's okay to have no dedicated servers for their game. It's so dumb. Now, let me walk you through it, because some people think it's not a big problem. And maybe they're right. Maybe it's not a big problem. So how peer-to-peer works is that instead of a server handling the load of all the players coming together and everyone connects to the server, instead, everyone connects to one player in that game. That means that one player will have a perfectly fine experience because he is sort of handing out the information to everyone else. His ping will be perfect. Everyone else's experience will be completely tied to this one person. If he's a great host, the game goes off without a hitch, no problems. But if he's a bad host, then geez, this game is terrible. All 3 elements, great combat, immersive gameplay, good sense of progression, all of that is just evaporated when you can't even play the game. If I'm running around trying to guess what my opponent's going to do, planning my attack, getting ready to input really badass combos, and then suddenly...
Oh. Goodbye, James.
It's impossible to play this game when everyone is freaking Nightcrawler from the X-Men. I can't even imagine what this game is like if you aren't American. If you're in the Philippines or in Australia or something and you're trying to connect to, like, your friend's account because you want to play with them. Jeez, you must be having a terrible time. Good luck. It totally destroys the sense of immersion. You'll have these really powerful moments where sword and shield are clashing against each other, and then suddenly out of nowhere... the sense of progression as a player, it really sucks, because when you're fighting an opponent that's lagging, or if you're lagging, it doesn't feel like you're playing your opponents. You're not getting better as a person. You're either winning because they can't follow you, or you're losing because you can't follow them. It's all luck at that point. You're never feeling like you're getting better as a player when you're playing in a laggy game. You're not progressing. In the sense of leveling up as a character, that's also inhibited as well.
Okay, awesome, what just happened? My game just started, my game just started flashing, and I was no longer in the game. Something popped up.
When you lose connection to the host and you're thrown into bot games, your rewards are actually less. You make less money fighting against bots. You earn less experience, you earn less iron, which is the name of the currency in this game. And sometimes it just takes a lot longer, because when you're in a game with 7 other players and then you drop and all 7 of those players are bots, some of them really, really suck. You're not going to have a great time. And yeah, obviously you can just disconnect. There's no downside to disconnecting in a game. I don't know if that's going to be a thing when it gets competitive, but right now, you can just leave and start up another game with your friends. Totally cool, but it still kind of sucks. And then, of course, aside from all those elements that I've just talked about, the biggest problem with peer-to-peer game is that it's absolutely abusable. Oh, that was fast. Oh, frick.
Oh, network connection. Can we get back?
No, it's
Or
gonna
you
turn
gonna
to
be
bots.
bot?
Oh, we got it.
Nope. Nice.
Maybe I shouldn't alt tab.
Was that you?
Oh.
Are you the host?
I guess. Stands to reason, right?
The host has a definitive advantage. For instance, in the last day of the beta, I was rendering my video for my YouTube channel. And while I was rendering, I thought, might as well jump into For Honor, see if I can actually run it. So I jump on in, and for whatever reason, the game decides that my network, my connection is better than everyone else's. And I end up hosting a majority of my one-on-ones. Because my processor was literally rendering a video while I was playing this game, all my opponents paid a big price. The load times were insane. Most people couldn't connect to me, and when they did, they played like this. It was ridiculous. The idea of someone being able to do this unintentionally is crazy. The prospect of someone doing this intentionally online to gain easy victories for the lulz is incredibly likely. I can't see people not abusing this intentionally or unintentionally in this game. They released a video today, actually, talking about the competitive scene and the competitive mode of For Honor. It's gonna have seasons and all these cool aspects to it because, you know, every game has to be in esports nowadays. And I'm just thinking, like, how's that gonna fly? I could just, I don't know, put up like 500 videos of Hello Kitty Island Adventure and just lag my opponents into death. Like, I don't get it. And I get that peer-to-peer is all very situational. You could be playing this game for years and not experience a single problem. I get that. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I had a terrible experience in the closed beta. Maybe it's just because it was beta and all the networking will be way better when it comes out. But it comes out in like literally 12 days. So I don't think they're going to fix it anytime soon. It's going to be unavoidable. You're going to have days where you'll just have perfect games, and then you're going to have days when you're just not going to be able to connect. And I don't like that. I don't think anyone does. It's just so weird because Ubisoft knows they made Rainbow Six Siege with the idea of it being peer-to-peer. That was a competitive FPS, and it got so much backlash, and they were so keen on the idea that it was such a bad idea that they're like, we probably shouldn't do this. And it released with dedicated servers, and that was awesome. They get it. It's just so weird that they would make such an incredible game, have it be so based on timings, and and then to have it be peer-to-peer. That kills me, man. That kills me. This is Jam from SupJamChan. If you like this video and you want to see more, then please send an email to Ubisoft politely asking them to implement dedicated servers to their wonderful game. Tell them SupJamChan sent ya. For those that don't know, For those that don't know, For Honor is a game that is coming out soon.